alphabetical, and we'll do ladies first. Hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. Well, my guests today, Angel and Terry Grier, and they're going to talk about the title. I love it. How My Wife Saved My Life. Please welcome them to the show. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So also,
Yeah.
Chef AJ, thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
It is my pleasure. So you've got a great story. So jump right in.
Yeah, so it's been an incredible journey over the last 2.5 years, Chef. And first and foremost, before we start, we want to thank you for being such a pioneer in the whole food, plant-based, vegan, even raw journey. Just being a pioneer and kind of leading that charge, and it's just displaying to everyone how you can eat healthy and live healthy and just really saving people's lives. So, and more importantly, how you've touched Angel's life.
Absolutely.
She went through some rough times and really pulled on your, past experience and you and some of the things that you've gone through and really identify with that. And you really helped her. And from the outside, I saw that. So I want to thank you. You're just an incredible human being. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're quite welcome. So how my wife saved my life. So, I've been an avid athlete for many, many years. And, I ran track in high school, ran track in college and excelled. And, I thought I was just this, superhuman, healthy person graduating college. But, boy, did I find out that was not the truth. I looked great on the outside. I was lean, mean. I was probably 145 pounds when I graduated college, and I was bench pressing almost 300 pounds. I was all Ohio in track and field my junior and senior year of college. And I came out and I was just full of energy and full of life. And, a few years after that, I stayed physically active. But I found out when I went to the doctor after Angel and I met, 20 years ago, she had mentioned to me, when was the last time you've been to the doctor for an annual checkup? And I'm like, what do I need an annual checkup for? I go to the gym every day. I work out, I lift weights. She said, you need to go to the doctor. So on a regular basis. So she was kind of one that kind of said, hey, look, you need to really do this because it's the right thing to do. And you should be doing it annually. So I went to the doctor, and lo and behold, my blood pressure was off the chart. At that time, I was working for Xerox. So I was in a high stressful, job, and a lot of direct reports, a lot of responsibility managing P&Ls. And the doctor put me on a blood pressure medication right then and there. So I basically left his office and went to the pharmacy and was put on a blood pressure medication. And I went through a few different medications before I finally found the right one. It didn't make me, didn't have those side effects. And so
it's important, I think, to note that when he came from the doctor, he called me and said, I have to take medication for the rest of my life. The doctor just gave me this diagnosis and said, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. And that was really devastating.
It was very, especially for me. I mean, like I said, I was athletic on the outside. I felt great on the outside, but what was going on the inside was unbeknownst to me. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. You're right, babe. Thanks for remembering that. So I was devastated and, went through a couple of blood pressure medications until they regulated the right way, within my body. And then, fast forward, my blood pressure is controlled, but my cholesterol is creeping up, still maintaining a rigorous workout routine. But not only was I on one blood pressure medication, now I was on 2 blood pressure medications, and my cholesterol was just creeping up. So it was 248. My cholesterol, my total cholesterol was 248. My LDL was 160. And a lot of people may think, wow, that's high, but I've seen worse. But the most important thing when we went to the doctor and Angel was with me was that I had a cardiac scan done. And the doctor said that my results put me at the 95th percentile of people my age, meaning 95% to the bad, not 95%. You want to be low on that chart. And so there was only 5% of the population that were my age that were worse. So that was
susceptible, susceptible to a cardiac event. He said exactly. 95% susceptible to a cardiac event.
Right, which was, again, now you add even more devastation onto what I had already knew before. And then the doctor.
You were eating grilled chicken salads. And
eating what I thought was healthy.
Hard-boiled eggs and string cheese and low-fat everything,
American
yogurt, cottage cheese.
Exactly.
So he was on a very restrictive diet and working out really, really hard. And this was what he kept getting. So then we asked the doctor, right, for 3 more months. Give it 3 more months. We'll bring the cholesterol down.
Right. Exactly. So so we went 3 more months and actually ended up not being able to reverse those results. And the doctor put me on a cholesterol medication. So I went on a cholesterol medication because the doctor said that was the only way to reduce your probability of a cardiac event. You need to go on this medication. And for the most part, I was going to be on that medication for the rest of my life. So not only was I going to be on blood pressure medication for the rest of my life, now cholesterol medication. Again, this is for a person who was working out, 6 days a week, eating what I thought was healthy. We live in Philadelphia. So if you know anything about Philadelphia, cheesesteaks are the norm. I mean, if you don't know what cheesesteaks are.
Excuse me for interrupting. Have you been to Pat's Cheesesteaks?
Yes. As a matter of fact, that was when we first met, we went to Pat's and Geno's.
Tony Luke's, you name it, we were there.
Yeah, when we ate meat, we were there. So and
those medications were raising his blood sugar.
Yes.
Remember? So it started to affect his blood sugar. Everything started to affect. So you're taking a medication to, I don't want to say solve, but help manage one thing. And it was hurting other things. So he was on his way to probably blood sugar medication, joint pain, knees.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to say, so I thought eating healthy, Chef AJ, was eating a cheesesteak, but not on a roll, on a salad.
Yep.
But I have it on a salad.
Mm-hmm.
How bad could that be? I have tomatoes, I have onions, I have lettuce. It's a cheesesteak on a salad, chicken cheesesteak. So just that, just crazy thinking. When I think back on how I was eating healthy, it was so unhealthy. But so Angel was just bound. When a doctor put me on the cholesterol medication, I had some side effects. I couldn't get to the level of intensity that I used to get when I was working out. And I had only been on medication for a few days. And we were at the gym, and I'll never forget, we were at the gym and I was on the treadmill and she was like, "Are you okay?" I basically said, "No, I'm not okay." And I had to step off. That was the first time I'd ever quit during a workout. When I was on the treadmill, and it was the medication. It was doing something where I couldn't get up to my level of intensity. It was almost like pushing me back from my full, workout. And right then and there, Angel was like, she was on a mission. She was on a mission, and nothing was going to stop her to help me get healthy and get off of these blood pressure medications as well as cholesterol medication. And that's when she found the whole food plant-based lifestyle. I'll let her talk about that a little bit, but I'll never forget. She came to me. She said, "Honey, I want you to look at 2 documentaries on Netflix." I'm like, 2 documentaries on what, babe? And she was like, on the whole food plant-based. I'm like, well, what's whole food plant-based? So then she tried to explain to me what whole food plant-based was. And we had tried all this other stuff, right? We had tried, what other things we had tried?
For 3 years, we did keto, Mediterranean diet, because we always wanted to be healthy and feel good. And just didn't realize the effects of those, any of those other diets, because you shouldn't live a diet, you should live a lifestyle.
Right, exactly. So she came to me. So we watched What the Health and Game Changers. And that changed the game for me, especially Game Changers, because Game Changers, as you know, you have athletes, Olympic athletes at the top of their peak. You had NFL players, just all these players talking about how they transitioned from a standard American diet to the whole food plant-based diet and the effects, the positive effects it had on their life. And I don't know if you did that on purpose because you knew that I was athletic and I would just relate to the athletes, but it just worked out perfect. So once we saw Game Changers and once we saw What the Health, I started negotiating a little bit, didn't I? I was like, okay, I said, I'm going to do this. I believe what you're saying. I said, but wait a minute. I said, wait a minute, babe. I said, what about all these other things we've been reading? You know, keto, Mediterranean. I said, which one is the truth? So then I started to get confused. I'm like, well, we researched all this stuff and this is telling us this. Now we're saying whole food, plant-based. Which one is the truth? I'm kind of confused. So she broke it down to me and she really started to study and started to really be a student of the benefits of going whole food, plant-based, vegan. And once I started to really listen and once I started to really understand what meat and chicken and all these things that we were eating, I mean, I was a shellfish junkie, any shrimp, lobster, scallops, you name it.
But he wasn't eating beef, so
so I thought it was okay, right? I thought it was okay until my cholesterol started to jump up. So in August of 2020 was when we went whole food, plant-based, 100%. Within 1 week, I came off of one of my blood pressure medications, which I had been taking for years. And within 6 weeks, 5 weeks, 5 weeks and 5 days, I came completely off my cholesterol medication, completely off. Matter of fact, I think we have a video of us flushing it down to 20.
We do.
We were celebrating.
Yeah.
And so to give you those numbers again, total cholesterol 248, LDL 160. Fast forward to today, total cholesterol 149, LDL 84. I mean, just incredible. So I cut my top line, by 70, 80%, and I just in half from my LDL, almost in half. And I'll never forget when I went to the doctor in October of last year. I saw the cardiologist assistant, and she's been in the industry for 20, 30, 40 years. And she was with a student that day, and we were looking at all of my cholesterol numbers from the time that I had gone to the doctor years ago to present. And she said that was the single greatest drop in cholesterol that she had ever seen in her entire career. And she applauded me for that. And, and she knew that we were going whole food, plant-based, and we were vegan. And I remember the student that was with her that day, she was just like, wow. Mm-hmm. Wow, just unbelievable.
Without medication.
That's the key thing. Single best ever. And she said, it's so hard for people to be that disciplined and to be that, what she called regimented and strict. But for me, it wasn't about being disciplined or being strict or being regimented. For me, it was a matter of life and death, because the cardiologist had told Angel, even though I was at that 95th percentile of having a cardiac event, he said the only thing that probably had saved me to this point from having a cardiac event was the workout regimen that I had, because I'm running, I'm doing elliptical, I'm lifting weights, I'm doing all these things that are healthy. And he said that was probably the one thing that saved me from not having had a cardiac event.
To that point.
Yeah. But fast forward to today, I mean, I'm 55. I feel like I'm 35. Mm-hmm. I did triple jump in college. So it was a lot of pounding and a lot of stress on my joints, specifically my knees. And I can remember at one point, I was in my mid 30s and I couldn't even kneel or bend down without having so many aches and pains. And it was all the inflammation. It was all inflammation from the dairy, all inflammation from the things that I was eating. And so when I got rid of that, I mean, I feel great. I mean, I feel awesome when I get out of bed in the morning. I have a great recovery from running. We just ran a 5K a month or so ago. It was our first 5K.
I'm not a runner, but I will say that Terry always thought that he had to do this very regimented, strict workout. He also enjoys it. It's like the way he gets up in the morning and he really enjoys that. But now he's more relaxed around it. If he misses a day or we have other plans or there's things that are sort of getting in the way of that workout for him, he said, I don't worry anymore because he knows how he feels. You're more in touch with your body. You don't have to do those things every day. So strict, so militant.
Exactly. No, that's a great point. And not that I've ever struggled with my weight per se. I think I was at 100 before we went whole food plant-based. I was at about 180 and 185 pounds. Post going whole food plant-based, I'm right at 170, 172. So I dropped like 15 pounds and I feel great. I didn't feel heavy at 185 or 180. But now knowing now what I know, knowing now, if I would have known that back then, I'm a lot more healthier. I'm 15 pounds lighter. I'm just as strong than I was before. And, you know, my recoveries are even better than they were before. And I remember when we went whole food plant-based, I couldn't believe the increased stamina that I had. And the intensity of my workouts were even greater. And it was just incredible. It seemed easier. As a matter of fact, Chef AJ, when we first started, my problem was that I wasn't eating enough food. So remember, I had dropped down like 165, 167.
When you move to this lifestyle, you have to become a machine.
Exactly. So I didn't even rice or beans. Yeah, because I was getting too thin. I was like, whoa, I'm gonna be 110 pounds if I don't keep eating more. So that was kind of just a learning period. But right now, my body is really just leveled off at that 170. 170, 175, 172. I probably never go over 172. But we were so excited. We were so fired up. Angel was like, we have to tell our story. We need to let the world know. We're going to start a YouTube channel. I said, we are? She said, yeah, babe, we're going to start a YouTube channel. I said, when? She said, today. I said, today? Okay, well, how are we going to do that? So we Googled and figured out how we were going to start. We started with our Android phone. We had an Android phone and a tripod in our kitchen, and we started talking in our first video.
Little folding chairs.
Yes, little folding chairs. But our first video was us just telling our story, and trying to get the word out, because we knew that, like you've known for years, FH, we had the secret. We had that silver bullet that if we can tell as many people as we could who could relate to our story, and I'll let you tell your story too, babe, who could relate to my story and our story, that we could save lives and we can affect so many people in a positive way. And that's exactly what we've done. And we continue to do it day in and day out.
We got fired up about it.
Oh my God, we got so excited.
It's a fire in your belly that never goes away. And every time, I'm sure because you get so many beautiful messages. I read the comments people say, and they come to you and they tell you these things, and it fuels you to just want to do more. And it's incredible. It's not like a job where you go, yeah, I have a mortgage to pay. It's just more, I don't know.
It's intrinsic. It's intrinsic. It really is. Absolutely. I can remember we had, I think, about 400 followers, and I think 300 of them was our nephew's friends. And we were just getting off the ground, and we had reached out to a lot of different people. And we reached out to Jill and Jeffrey Dalton from the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show. And they told our story. They invited us and told our story on their show. And, props to Jeffrey and Jill. They're friends of ours, and we talk on a regular basis. But that really fueled our exposure on our channel. And then it really started to take off. And they didn't know us from Adam. They just wanted to hear our story. And they wanted us to share our story with their audience, right?
But it's the same. It was the same way with them. The same way with you, Chef AJ. Just people that it's more about getting out to the community and sharing these stories with the community. And you can just tell the people that really want to do that have the drive and the passion. And I love that. It fuels me. It fuels me incredible.
Absolutely. So we've, Dale, why don't you tell your side of the story, because it's really incredible.
We have so much to say.
Let me just catch a quick question before Angel tells her story. Sure. So there's a question from a live viewer named Patricia. Did you have any other health issues, or other than the ones you mentioned, specifically the high blood pressure, the high markers in the blood, cholesterol, things like that? Did you have anything else? Was that it?
No other health issues other than, again, having those aches and pains, just arthritis from just triple jumping. which is all but gone away. I do take vitamins. I take a multivitamin. I take glucosamine just to help with that. But the real stark difference was going whole food plant-based and eliminating that dairy and eliminating all those things that create inflammation and hurt and hurt just your joints. So no, thank God.
He was headed towards type 2 diabetes.
Yes, headed toward, right.
He was headed towards that, and he didn't eat sugar and things like that. I mean, you know what I mean? He wasn't doing what people think you have to do to become a type 2 diabetic. You were headed towards that. And like a cardiologist says, you're 95 percentile to have a cardiac event. So he was probably headed to death, quite frankly.
Right. So that's a great question, because although I didn't have any other health elements other than the ones I mentioned, the minor ones, but what I was headed toward was probably worse than anything. And again, if you were to look at me from the outside, no sign, but on the inside, just not doing well at all. Right, Ben?
Yep. What are the questions? Those are great questions.
Yeah, no, those were the first ones. And the other one is like, had you ever heard about a plant-based diet before?
I had not. No, I had heard of vegan, but I had never really studied it. Had never really paid enough attention to it to ever want to go vegan or whole food plant-based. It wasn't until Angel brought it to my attention, and again we started watching those documentaries that it really hit home. And I hate to say that it was a kind of a last ditch effort. It wasn't a last ditch effort, but I was headed in such a wrong direction health wise and in such a bad way that it really pushed us to find other alternative healthy ways of eating to improve my health and ultimately both of our health and our lifestyle overall.
I think if you think of that person, or maybe there's more than one person in your life that is your strength, your hero, and they're always there for you mentally, emotionally, and just physically strong, your ox, and then you see that person next to you on a treadmill that you've been seeing be strong for 20 years and just almost give up. I actually thought I was going to have to call 911. I really did think he was having a heart attack. I'd never had seen him like that. Something like that just snapped me. And I thought, this isn't going to be my story. I'm not going to be the widow. This isn't going to happen for me, because there has to be something. So I was blessed to find so many trailblazers like yourself on YouTube, and it has been incredible. And when Terry said, well, what's going to be the difference? And I said, let's let our blood work be the difference, because you can get a lot of lip service. You can read a lot of stuff. There's books published all over the place about every diet that works. But blood work doesn't lie. So that's how I look at it.
Absolutely. And you termed it perfect. You said I was in cardiac quicksand.
Yep, that's the way I look.
Cardiac quicksand.
I'm coining that phrase. Cardiac quicksand.
Yeah, it's in our book.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah. So we were so inspired. Again, like I said, we started a channel. We wanted to get our word out. Angel has just been, oh my gosh, she's just been incredible.
Wow.
She said, let's go get our holistic certifications, holistic nutrition certifications. So we got our holistic nutrition certifications, and we wrote a book. Angel we co-authored a cookbook. It was Angel's idea. So she's the kind of the brains and the plans behind it.
I have the link to that book, both in the chat and the show. Beautiful. Tell us about the holistic nutritionist training. What is that? Where do you go for it? What does that mean? How do you work with people?
Yeah.
So we don't we don't necessarily work with people. What we do is we utilize it to put into our recipes and to help people on the show. And so we're actually teaching people on the show. So that's how we utilize it first and foremost.
Yeah.
And the book, Food's Life Gift to Healing, it really resonated because it was food that actually was able to save my life. Food and nothing but the food, right, Ben? Want to talk about the training and kind of what it all entails?
Yeah, just really people that we know that have written wonderful books. We read the books. We had to go through a lot of testing. That was a lot because I was trying to get my doctorate at the time. So we were doing it all at the same time. But it was really more about educating ourselves because we felt like the more educated we are, the more we can educate people. And that's why when I'm cooking on the show, I'm always educating. Did you know this about nuts? Or if you use this, or you can try it this way or that way. And I don't know if I drive people crazy, but I can't help it. I'm really a junkie for education myself. And so that's what we do. We take those learnings and the knowledge that we have and we share it with the community so that they can take it and do what's best for them.
Absolutely.
So that's what we've done with
Absolutely. And the comments that, the audience that they put into our chats and feeds are just incredible. Just as you know, Chef Jamie, I mean, they bring some of them are tear jerkers.
Yeah.
And you know when you've positively affected someone's life, when someone takes the time to share with you, the benefits of your show and what you've done and the education. It's just been incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Right. The most painful things that we hear. And we know that being vegans, whole food, plant-based, whatever we're doing, that the communities aren't always as welcoming outside of the plant-based community, that sometimes our friends and family aren't really thrilled with our choices because it does something for their lifestyle, I guess, negatively. But the things that I know that hurt me the most when I read comments for the people is the people in their lives, even if they're married to them or what have you, that don't support the lifestyle. That's hard for me. I just really start because I get so much support from Terry and that we support one another. And it's all about quality of life and health and feeling good. So that's hard for me to hear. And my heart goes out to those people. I'm glad that we all can be a community and help them because I just can't imagine not having that support in my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What advice do you give people when their spouse or their children or their family and friends aren't on board? Because you're right, it is much more difficult. Yeah,
it's really difficult. So for me, it's always follow your truth, follow your body, and I try not to, in the beginning, when you start to take on this lifestyle and you don't have brain fog anymore and you're jumping out of bed like Tigger and the weight is coming off, and you're not even trying and you're eating and you're really happy. And so you kind of want to start preaching, right? And then the more you preach, the more frustrated sometimes people get, and they want to argue with you about why that doesn't make sense. And then it becomes a little bit of a struggle for everybody. So I would always say, don't preach to people. If people are genuinely interested, wow, your skin looks better. Wow, you're glowing. Wow, you look 10 years younger today than you did 10 years ago. Or what are you doing? Then share openly and with excitement. But I would say, don't preach it. And I would love to come out and spend time and sit with you at a gathering. But I may bring my own things, or I might eat ahead of time, or what have you. And I want it to be okay. I still want to come and socialize. So Absolutely. I just like to try to keep it positive and don't alienate yourself from the world. I don't think it's us that alienate them. I think sometimes the people that don't understand alienate themselves from us. Oh, you're not going to, be my drinking buddy anymore, or we're not going to eat a half a gallon of ice cream together anymore, but we can have nice cream. Let's eat a half a gallon of ice cream.
Absolutely. So, and we also welcome them to our whole food plant-based family, right?
Yeah.
We welcome to our whole food plant-based family, and we say, look, we're here to support you any way we can. Message us. We have a website, which is actually going through a refresh. So we have an active website, but we're actually going to be refreshing that website next month. So we bring them into our family. We bring them into our whole food plant-based family and our plant-based love family. And we just open our arms to them and open ourselves up to them to reach out to us anytime for anything they need for that extra added support, because that's important.
It is important. And I think you have to also, you have to be kind to yourself and just be kind to others, even when they're not being kind, because it's funny when you live this lifestyle, it's so much easier to be kind. people look at you because you're smiling and you're happy. What's wrong with them? I don't know. Maybe they're plant-based. So really, I think you have to be kind to people. And that's what I try. You try to stay and not judge them for what they're doing. Just stay with your truth.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Angel, did you have any health problems? And when did you find out first about the healthful aspects of the diet?
Sure.
Yeah. So I have struggled with my weight for 40 plus years. Not to age myself, but I have struggled with my weight. My mom tells me that I was thin and lean and mean and up to 5 years old. And then I had my tonsils out, and I don't know if they took my tonsils out or what happened, but I just kind of blew up from there and was a heavy teenager, a heavy, young, older child, and then just struggled with my weight through pregnancy, through just life. I always used food for happiness and, what do you say, as a tool to deal with stress, because just a coping, not the healthiest relationship with food, because you're using it to make yourself feel better, which is a very poor relationship with food. But it takes you to get something and get into a different lifestyle before you realize that is a very poor relationship with food, and how sugar is so addicting. I mean, 10 times more addicting than cocaine. I've never done drugs because I'm not good with, one drink. I'm a cheap date. No drugs for me, but I can imagine how addicting that is. So just struggling with my weight my whole life and trying every single diet. I tried them all. Just call me. I'll tell you about it. Medifast. I went over to Mexico to get medication so I would stop eating or not be as hungry. I've done Weight Watchers. I've done every kind of pill. You name it, I've done it. Food in a box that you add water and all of a sudden you have a hamburger. I mean, it's crazy. So I have maintained my weight for probably 15 years now, but that is through strict diet and through strict exercise. And for me, before I became whole food plant-based, I had heart palpitations, and I actually had Terry's cardiologist. He had a monitor on me. Well, I don't know, it's like a medical mystery. And I've always struggled with iron deficiency anemia for at least 30 plus years since my oldest son was born. And just joint pain. I had a laminectomy in my back way back in 1991, and that messed me up. So the joint pain, getting up in the morning and for 2 hours, trying to figure out what am I going to do to get through this day. And when I thought I was definitely in search for some lifestyle to save my husband. That was my whole goal. 100% had nothing to do with me, but I didn't know that this lifestyle was also going to save me. I do love food. I'm a foodie. I love cooking. I am not a renowned chef like you, Chef AJ, but I love cooking. And I come from 100% Italian family where we feed people with love. That's how we love you. We make you a dish and you must love it. And that's how we love you. You have to love it. So cooking for people, making them happy, making them feel good through food. That's how I grew up. That's how I was raised. And I love that. So this part of cooking and creating in a whole food plant-based lifestyle really gets my juices flowing. I love it. And so, but my heart palpitations stopped when I went whole food plant-based. I was jumping out of bed and I didn't even realize that my joints weren't hurting anymore. And for the first time in the year 2020, since 1980 something, my back didn't hurt. It was incredible. Right now it's allergy season or here. I don't know anything about allergies and headaches and all that type of stuff anymore because we don't eat processed food, right? We don't eat a the Oreo vegan diet. We eat the whole food plant-based vegan diet. And so I got rid of my heart palpitations, my back pain, my cholesterol. I was headed right with Terry for a bad, what was my cholesterol? Honey?
Cholesterol was total cholesterol of 236.
236.
LDL of 121.
Yep. And that was from all of my cheese loving. Cheese was my main food group. Like that was my food group. It was on the pyramid. Cheese was the biggest section, and every kind of cheese you can think of. So when I went whole food plant-based, I would say the hardest thing was the cheese. And then I learned how to make cheese. So actually the whole food plant-based cheese tastes better, I think. And that's what I think. And now my cholesterol, my total cholesterol is 176. And my LDL is 86. My LDL was 121. So I also lowered those things. My blood sugar was going up a little bit, and it's way down. But one thing I've noticed now in the last 5 months, I had some issues and things that I was working with. I didn't know if I was depressed, what was going on, and it was some personal stuff that had nothing to do with our lifestyle, Terry, or my family or anything, but pretty traumatic stuff. And I said, well, what can I do? I'm on the best diet in the world. And then I started eating raw to try to help. And it's crazy because I have been getting iron infusions for 30 years now, like every 3 months. Sometimes I would go 6 months or 9 months, to tell you the truth, because the iron infusions do make you feel kind of yucky. And so now they take my blood. I just had my blood work done, and I had a hemoglobin of almost 12. I had never in my history had a hemoglobin of 12. And this is without any iron infusions. I haven't had an infusion for 2 years. So my hemoglobin, I mean, that's just
it's incredible.
Incredible. And I feel great. I'm not dizzy anymore. My normal hemoglobin was probably between 7 and 9. It got so bad one time that I had to have a big blood transfusion because it was under 5, which is really bad. And it sent my heart into arrhythmia, and it just was not a good scene. So I appeared healthy like Terry, because people see women and they see thin women and they think that means healthy, but they don't understand how hard we are on our bodies to maintain that weight. I was hungry all the time. I'm never hungry anymore. I'm so satisfied. My brain, I don't have brain fog. I feel great. My skin is better. Unfortunately, you can't get rid of all the wrinkles, but my skin is better. And it's just a whole holistic lifestyle around it. And that's what I did my study on when I got my doctorate. It was really on eating choices. And the eating choices, your health, and how it has an economic impact on your life. Because eating choices and your health can definitely impact your economic stability.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was an incredible, I remember when Angel was getting her doctorate, it was incredible when she told me, we had gone through all these different things that we could have written, or she could have written her doctorate on. But when she brought up this topic to me, I was like, babe, this is it. This is because it's tied into how we live, what we do, how we eat, how we're affecting people's lives positively, what we're passionate about. And then just to learn some of the things that you learned, babe. What were some of the things you learned? I mean,
and I know, Chef AJ, you have medical doctors on this show all the time. So, but just for me, really studying the effects of heart disease and stroke, and how it's the #1 killer of Americans. I mean, something around 900,000 Americans die each year from heart disease and stroke. And I'm not saying all of those are preventable, but I am a strong believer that they are preventable. Over $215 billion spent in healthcare dollars, and something like $150 billion, if I remember correctly, in lost productivity in society and at work. And that's something we don't consider. We're usually using healthcare dollars but there's that lost productivity at home, for your family, at your job, from being sick, from food, not to mention, and then those other awful killers like cancer and just the healthcare reasons for obesity equate to over $500 billion in healthcare costs. So if you couple those together and you put that back into society and back into your household, it's really incredible. And the study did show that obviously eating choices do affect you economically, physically, longer, healthier life, disease-free. So
absolutely. In the food deserts, where the food deserts are located,
yes.
some of those rural and some of those urban areas,
yes, because
where
some people
need
don't
it
have
most.
choices.
Right. So not only they don't have access to fresh produce, fresh vegetables. A lot of these areas don't even have access to good health care. And it starts with education as well. So it was really eye-opening.
It was very rewarding. It was very rewarding. Very rewarding.
It was.
Nice. Hey, Tara, who's watching live, wants to know about what organization did you get your training from?
For me?
Did you go to the same place for health certification?
It
was
oh my gosh, it just slipped my mind. That is not like me. Can we write into you?
Yeah, or if you think of it, you probably think of it in the middle of the night, just text.
Yes, I will.
So funny. I'm curious, the machine behind you, is that an air fryer?
Yes, it's an air fryer.
Yes.
Absolutely. And it makes the best French fries ever.
What kind is it? Because it looks a little bit, because the Breville, the drawer goes this way. It looks like the drawer's open this way. It's beautiful.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, look at that.
It's an Oster.
It's nice. It looks nice and big. Yeah. Well, I'm sure if you watch the show at all, you know that every guest, even when they're not vegan, unfortunately gets this question: what do you guys eat in a day, and what do you do for exercise?
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely. So, I'll just start with me. What do I eat in a day? So if I want to have breakfast, I have breakfast. If I don't, I don't. I've read a lot about, sort of waiting to eat and all that kind of stuff, but I'm more about listening to my body. If I'm hungry, I eat. If I'm not hungry, I don't. So I don't try to limit myself. I'm only going to eat 8 hours a day, or I'm only going to eat 4 hours a day. It's too much pressure for me. And I believe in the lifestyle. So I just do that. So if I get up in the morning and I want to eat, I will either make a smoothie, which I love, with mango. I love kale and spinach in there. And it's just amazing. I love putting those greens in my body in the morning. My body appreciates it too. If I don't want to have a smoothie and I want to eat something, I will eat a gigantic bowl of fruit. I'm definitely not afraid of fruit. I eat it in abundance. So something like that for breakfast. For lunch, I'll usually have a big salad with, again, fruit or all kinds of different veggies. I love making dressings. I've done a lot of dressing videos. If I'm in a hurry and I can't make a dressing, I'll just put some balsamic vinegar. I've definitely bought from California vinegar or olive and grape. So any kind of yummy, delicious vinegar. I'll put some seeds on it if I like that. If I made a whole food plant-based tuna or something, I might put some globs of tuna on the top. Leftovers. I love leftovers for lunch too. So if we have a chili or anything that we have, I'll eat leftovers. And then for dinner, I always make us something. I love dinner. I know people say that shouldn't be your heavy meal. Forget it when you're whole food plant-based. So,
and now we're raw, high raw. So,
yeah,
fast forward to today, Angel is 100% raw. I'm about 85, 90% raw. Absolutely.
Yes.
Are you kidding? I did not know that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's our new, it just when I was going through some stuff and just to try to help myself feel better. And Terry also.
Well, tell me about that. So far, I'm raw today.
You know what? It's so funny because I think people that are whole food plant-based probably are high raw. I really do. When you truly live a whole food plant-based without processed food and oil and added salt and sugar, I think we are all high raw. I do. If you really, really think about it. And then for dinner, we always make something yummy because I just feel like it's the end of a long day. We work really hard. And so
like last night we had
these spring rolls, and I think Terry's going crazy over spring rolls, like salad, salad, but he just loved them. But when you make a peanut sauce or a sweet and sour sauce and dip them in there, they're a little bit. But we make pizza and
in our dehydrator, pizza in the dehydrator.
We eat everything. Yeah. We make crackers. So dinner's a really good thing. And then if we want dessert at night, it's usually an ice cream or some kind of smoothie bowl you can have. Or again, I will go back to my fruit. I love frozen mango. When you thaw it out, there's something sweet about it. And to tell you the truth, a lot of times for dessert at night, I mean, I'm going to tell you the truth, Terry. Terry will put potatoes in the air fryer behind us and have French fries. So he loves French fries. So
yeah, it's kind of my late night snack. Yeah. So great question. So again, I'm high raw right now. So for breakfast, I have a smoothie. So we have some kind of green. I used to have some sort of green supplement powder. I have spinach and kale, which I'll put into my blender. I usually put peanut butter powder as well as frozen bananas. And I use oat milk, and I blend it all up, and I have my green bean smoothie drink for the morning. So that's what I usually have in the morning.
He craves that.
I crave it. And then for lunch, I'm usually having some sort of rice and beans, or rice, beans, and vegetables. That's kind of what I have for lunch. If I want a snack in between, I'll have a fruit, maybe some fruit. Maybe I'll dip in some peanut butter or something like that. And then for dinner, like Angel said, whether I'm working from home or whether I come home, we kind of make dinner, or dinner's already made, or we make it together, and we have all sorts of stuff. But that's so again, primarily I'm about 85% raw, because really the only cooked meal that I'm eating during the day is at lunch. That's the only cooked meal that I'm having during the day.
Except for those fries at night.
Yeah, except for the fries at night. Yeah, you're right. So that brings it up to that 85, right? 85%. And in terms of working out, so we do cardio on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. We're usually either on the treadmill. We have a stair step machine or a bike, a Peloton bike, and we kind of rotate those three. And we lift weights on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Sunday's kind of our CrossFit day, where we'll run and lift weights on the same day. So we just ran our first 5K a month ago. Our goal is to run a 10K sometime in May, run a half marathon sometime in July or August, and then run
getting off the treadmill.
And then we want to run a marathon at the end of the year, probably in the fall. I think that's the best time to run. So we'll see. It's a big leap to go from a 10K to a half marathon, and a half marathon to a full marathon. It's a lofty goal. We set it early this year, and I think
it's good. I'm driving towards goals. I'm not a runner. I've never been a runner. Terry is an avid runner. So for him, physically and everything, it's a pretty good challenge, but for me, it almost seemed impossible.
Right.
But I got through the 5K in 42 minutes, and that's probably, some people are probably laughing because they can do it in 15, but that is great for me, and I'm proud of it. So now we're headed towards the 10K, and my trainer's brutal. Did you hear him? 4 days a week, he makes me run. But you don't have to do that on a whole food plant-based diet. I want to be honest. We started training like this, or I started training like this to get ready for this goal. Normally, a nice walk outside, brisk, a few times a week is enough.
Absolutely.
You don't have to really be crazy working out on this lifestyle.
No. But I'm training her for this half marathon, a full marathon. And to your point, Dave, we're not running any of these races to break any records or to get into the Guinness Book of World Records. Forget about it. We're just running this for a goal, number one. And number two, do it to your lifestyle, do it to your physical capabilities. If you want to do something, physical, walks are great. I love when we walk because we talk the whole time, catch up on things. And it's really a nice quiet time between Angela and I, where we can just kind of talk and relax and kind of wind down a little bit, because we don't have a lot of any downtime because we have so much going on. So hopefully that answers everyone's questions, or answers your questions, Chef AJ.
Yep. And Dina wants to know if your book's on Amazon, and it is. If you want to hold it up and show it again and maybe talk a little bit about it.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it when you talk. I've been putting the link in the show notes. It's also in the chat. And yes,
Awesome.
please talk about it a little bit. And someone is asking if you guys have plant-based doctors.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I will tell you that the book, some of the story that Terry and I told you about our life was just a high level. We really talk about our life stories in this book. There's over 100, I think it's 101 recipes. And then just some self-help tips throughout that we gave, things that we learned in our holistic nutrition training and things that we applied in the book. So it's not just recipes, it's all kinds of stuff, and really a deep dive into our childhoods and what makes us who we are today.
Yeah, some of our struggles and some of the things that we overcame in life. Yeah. And again, that makes us who we are today. And then the second one was, what was the second question? I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Oh, do either of you guys go to a plant-based doctor?
Okay.
Yeah. So Terry, do you want to, I mean, we had a doctor in here. So Terry actually wanted to see Dr. Furman after some of his test results and after he came off the cholesterol medicine. And we said, we really need a holistic doctor, somebody who can understand the way we eat and our lifestyle, and who truly believes that food is medicine, not, well, that's fun for now, but because most of the doctors that we've had, or Terry's cardiologist said that it's great if you can do that, but it's too hard for most people, which is why we have to recommend medication. And he also shared with Terry the last time that they have to recommend medication, I guess, because they can get sued if they don't. So
and it's a very, again, University of Pennsylvania is where I go to see my cardiologist. So it's a very academic, driven type of treatment. So I guess the answer to the question is no, we don't see whole food plant-based doctors. However, I did see Dr. Benson,
who worked with
Dr. Furman, and Dr. Benson was great. So I did see him the one time. I haven't seen him since, but he gave just some great advice. And probably the biggest advice he gave me, and most helpful advice he gave me, or us, I should say, was just helping us understand the difference between a whole food plant-based doctor himself and then a traditional cardiologist doctor, and then their thinking, their thought process, and why, and help me understand some of that gray area
and how they train some of those,
and how they train some, right. And Dr. Benson, he actually trains, cardiologists who really receive little or no nutritional training, when they're going for their medical degree. We've tried. It's hard. I don't know why in the area to find doctors. It's really difficult where we live, but we've definitely tried. But Terry can see Dr. Benson virtually. He did help us understand a lot of things that we were doing, why we were doing it. We knew we were doing it, but the health benefits of doing the things that we were doing. And then explaining to Terry that, a handful of nuts or a couple of handfuls of walnuts a day is not going to hurt you. So trying to get Terry accustomed to that, because Terry is very strict. If you say, stop doing this, he stops doing it. Start doing this, start doing it. Yeah. So when we started, it was no nuts, no nothing. I mean, it was so regimented, but I think I needed to get to that place where my cholesterol was where it was. I was off the one blood pressure medication. I'm off the cholesterol medication, and really put those guardrails in place so that when we started to fold back in nuts, moderately, it kind of helped. Yeah. Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And again, no added salt, or sugar in anything that we make or eat.
Can I say, Chef AJ, I know you have more questions, but I have to. Marianne, I hope you're out there. I know you watch Chef AJ because she came to me and said, Angel, Chef AJ talks about Holland Bowls. Have you ever heard of them? And I was living under a rock. I hadn't heard of them. And she enlightened me. I love her to death. Look at this gorgeous bowl. I had it on the back. They engrave it for you.
I have the small one. I didn't know it came that big.
What?
That's beautiful.
It's shaped like a heart too.
Angel loves.
It's shaped like a heart.
Terry. Well, Terry loves Angel. So Angel and Terry's plant-based love. So I have it on the back, and this is absolutely gorgeous. Then when I told my mom about it, she went crazy. She got a magnificent bowl. Those people there are so nice. And then because of you, Chef AJ, I got this. And because of Marianne telling me that I could get this because of you. So if you're out there, Marianne, thank you so much. And I'm hoping that my mom gets me a bowl like hers. So, hint. But I wanted to say that I stuck the bowl up here because when the bowl came, Terry was like, "Yo, wow, I haven't seen you that excited for years." Anyway.
One of the live viewers wants to know if your book has recipes and if it will be on Audible.
So it is not on Audible, and yes, it has 101 or 104 recipes.
And these are whole food plant-based recipes. So this is before we went raw.
All oil,
salt. So SOS, salt, oil, and sugar-free. Absolutely.
Yes. And Maxine, you can buy the book on Kindle because I just checked.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. How long have you guys been a couple?
Over 20 years.
Over 20 years, yeah.
Yes.
Nice. Well, this is wonderful. So you think any plans for the future? Write another book, something like that?
Yeah. Well,
absolutely.
Well, okay. So I can't help it. We have been working on something that we have not shared with anybody. So between me and Terry, our kids, and my mom, nobody else knows. So we're going to share the big secret. We're working on an app, and it's going to have all of our recipes. It's going to have ebooks on it. It's going to have meal plans for whole food plant-based, as well as raw eating, that people can follow, just all kinds of stuff. I didn't realize, I knew it would be a labor of love, but I didn't think it would be like this. It's a little bit, expensive, but it's okay, because I think you have to invest in what you believe in. So these same people that are working on the app, it's actually in the testing phases right now. They let me put it on my phone and I got to try it. I'm just really jazzed up about it because it's been so much work and energy doing it. I never thought I would do this undertaking because I have a hard enough time turning on a computer, but it's been great. And these same people are updating our website so that if you want to be able to print the recipes like most people want to, the app and the website will work together so that you can print, so that you can look at things in bigger on a computer instead of on your phone. So they're really, they're doing a great job. So that is what we're working on.
Yes, that's awesome. And one of the things I want to circle back to, one person in the audience had asked if some of the recipes are on audio. So there are some recipes that are on audio because on our YouTube channel. Yeah. You'll see a link in the recipe book that'll take you to the YouTube channel. So that's how you can get it on audio. Not all 100, but a large majority of them. Mm-hmm. So some are audio and some are.
When will this be available?
So the app is going to go live, I think, by the end of May. So that's really depending on me. That's not the company, because what I'm doing, go big or go home. We're going to have obviously the YouTube recipes on there so people can refer to them, and they're right there at your fingertips. But the new recipes that aren't on YouTube, I'm actually doing videos so that people can have the visual of what does this mean, because some people are visual learners when they're cooking. And so I'm doing videos, not seeing me, not like YouTube, but just actually seeing the food and how I'm putting it together on that. So that has been a big undertaking. And so because of that, it's taken me a little bit longer to get everything into Dropbox and get everything on there. but I'm hoping by the end of May because it's important.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, when you get that link, would you just contact me and then I can add it to the show notes?
Yes, I would love to.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Well, this has just been a very great way to start the day. Very inspiring story. Thank you for sharing it with us.
No, thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having us.
I'm curious though, what you're one, I don't know if you know that every guest gets 2 free bottles of balsamic vinegar, but if you're raw now, can you still have that?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I still, we've been raw. I've been raw for 5 months but I still, cook. I cook for Terry. And it was just something I was trying to do for my mental health. But my cholesterol and everything is the same on the plant-based, whole food plant-based and the raw diet. I don't know if that's forever. I know it's forever for me is a whole food plant-based lifestyle, and for Terry, that's forever. But and eating raw has been great. But I don't, if somebody said, what's better, raw or whole food plant-based? I can't quantify it because they're both
I'm always
amazing.
in awe of raw people because I did it for 2 years, but it was over 20 years ago and I just didn't sleep enough. I had like too much energy, if that's
Yes. That's the whole problem.
Yeah. Right. Well, great. Well, thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure meeting you.
No, thank you, Chef AJ.
Have a great day.
Have a great day. Awesome. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Please come back at 9 a.m. tomorrow for Professor Timmery Hagenberger. And she is going to be showing you how you can ditch store-bought